What's up, everybody? Thanks for watching, and thanks to all the subscribers and supporters of this channel and contributors. I've been getting quite a few requests, as in PMs, as to where I get some of my information. And let me borrow from Prince Narmer 777's format here in this lady's books out on the table. There are many brothers and sisters out there who have contributed to our enlightenment. And these are just a couple books here that I want to show you. First one is pretty much African American History for Dummies. Don't be afraid of the title. Don't be ashamed of reading For Dummies books. Just a way of, if you haven't heard of it, I'm sure many of you have heard of all these books and know all this stuff and know a lot more than me on many different topics. So I'm coming to you just parallel. So this book just goes through the basic information of our story in America. It gives a little bit of information on our history in Africa before we got here. So, and it's written by a black woman, so you know that's trustworthy. But even the case, no matter what, check everything. Everything I put up on the channel, and anything you read, always verify everything. Don't take anything just for face value, at face value. This book right here is a rare book. I had to pay $30 for this book at an underground bookstore, and this is probably where you're going to have to get it. The Grandmaster J.A. Rogers, rest in peace. He talks about everything in here from Moors. You see here the Moors right here. You're not going to learn about this in school, I promise you. He talks about ancient Kemet, our ancestors in Kemet, and talks about interracial relationships over in other countries in Europe, and talks about a little bit about Greece, a little bit about Russia, our interactions in Russia. There's a lot of information in this book here, and so you probably have to get it at I think it's out of print, so you have to get it at an underground bookstore, and you might be able to get it like on Amazon, buy it from another person on Amazon. That's J.A. Rogers. The name of the author here is Penrice of this book here. Rhonda Rocha Penrice. That might be Rocha too, or Rachel. I'm not sure. $15, $30. Another book here by the Grandmaster Cheik, anta diop, physicist. He talks about pretty much exactly what it says. The African origin of civilization. He debunks the European myth. He debunks the Asian myth. He pretty much lays it all out about how ancient Kemet is the origin of civilization. Now, you've already seen my video on the writing, on the letters A, B, C, D, how that right there is a result of meta-nature, aka what the Greeks call hieroglyphics. He lays it all out here in this book, top to bottom. So you can be armed with this knowledge here when you run into Eurocentrics who try to claim that ancient Egypt or ancient Kemet came from Europe. We automatically know what goes without saying isn't true, but this can give you some facts to back it up. This book right here, out of all these books I'm going to show you, by the Grandmaster, rest in peace, Chancellor Williams, is probably, if you want to pick one of these books, this would be the book right here. He goes from beginning to end. He's talking about, now we can't forget about our West African kingdoms, Ouagadougou, aka Ghana, Mali, Songhai. A lot of you already know about all this information. He talks about ancient Kemet from the beginning to end, how we lost it, the invasions. He talks about the Mossi states. This book right here is pretty much an anthology of all of our history here, and you can see it here. I've read all these books one time at least, and I've read this book once, and all these books aren't books to be just read and put up on the shelf. These are reference guides, and you know, one of the things here that you got to be careful of is trying to take in too much at once. He talks about the Nzinga here, the warrior queen, and you know, we have to remember that when we as men, as black men, couldn't hold it down, our sisters did at all times, you know, and they respected us, and they stayed along our side when we were weak. So you know, we talk about how black women sometimes ain't feminine, ain't sensitive. Well, they haven't had that luxury, right? Am I right? Okay, so anyways, yeah, this right here would be the #1 book I would suggest. You can get this at, you know, your main bookstore, but always support your underground bookstores too. $15. And out of all these books I'm going to show you, this is the top book I would suggest. And if you consider yourself a fast reader, which means you read a book a week, then this would probably be a good book. But I'm on my second run on this book right now. Now, these are books that are written by Europeans or Caucasians right here. Or he might be Jewish or Hebrew or whatever. But this right here lays out our history. But alongside that, I got this online for $30. It says the library, but it's out of, you know, officially released for the library. But this is out of print too, so it's a rare find. It talks about the barbarians in Northern Europe. You know, now we find out when you run into Eurocentrics, they want to claim Greece and Rome and all that, but they may be German. Well, if we look back at that, we see how the Germans were seen by the Mediterranean people. You know, they want to separate us by west, east, south, or north, but we do the same thing to them. We see what they were really like, right? And this really goes through a lot of good information here. But, you know, again, take it with a grain of salt, because there's a few cheap shots in here that you want to be careful of. So if you're not an experienced researcher, you might want to have someone go alongside with you, you know, and kind of, you know, help you out with that. But and here's another book here, another book written by a Caucasian, and this is one you got to be really on guard for, because like usual, he's going to show the later periods of when the Hittites and the Hyksos and the Macedonians, you know, the Greeks and all that came in, and he's going to show their depictions and represent that as what Kemet really was. Well, we know that wasn't true, right? So this is just one book that you can check out. But any book written by a Caucasian, you really want to be on guard, because, of course, they're going to tell it from their perspective, and we've had that for many years. And you know, we haven't gained a lot from that. And you know, watch out for the watch out for the, you know, the Greeks call him Chephren. I don't know if you can see that, but we know his name is Khafre, right? Okay, and we know Khufu. You know, and you know, we know his name is Khufu, and other people call him by other names. Okay, Cheops. Yeah, you call him Cheops. So be on guard. We know Egypt is a Macedonian name as well. So those are books that I suggest. These two books here, really be on guard. This is just an everyday Egyptian book on ancient Egypt. You can get this dime a dozen. This book's a little bit rare, and again, this is the top book I would suggest. If you're going to pick anything out of these books, this book was like $30 because it's out of print. Bought it online. So yeah, hope this helps out. Peace, y'all.